All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So look, the floodgates are open, right? The search for the next Jets head coach has officially begun. It's going to be a fun ride. The Jets have formally put in their interview requests with a bunch of different assistant coaches out there in the NFL. So let's dive in. Let's break down each of these different candidates, how I would like them, and really rank them from worst to first. So without further ado, let's hop in. So I do quickly want to mention this as well. There hasn't really been any sort of news or speculation or rumors out there linking the Jets with either of my top two candidates for the team. Matt Campbell from Iowa State, of course, and then Pat Fitzgerald from Northwestern. There hasn't really been much action on that end, just something to keep in mind. Any sort of interview process or anything dealing with an NFL franchise trying to interview a college head coach, that stuff's really under the radar. It's not so popular as, for an example, like an Eric Bieniemy or a Joe Brady or something like that. It's a lot more kind of stealth. Think of Matt Rule with Carolina last year. There wasn't much on it until the news broke. So let's get into it. So coming in at spot number 6 on this list is LA Rams defensive coordinator Brandon Staley. All right. Now, one thing I do want to note, I actually like all 6 of these guys on this list. I think they all have a lot of pros. There's definitely a lot of things to like, a lot of things to work with. I just like certain guys more than others. The guys that I think would be better fits with the Jets, if that makes sense. But anyway, spot number 6 is Brandon Staley, a guy who I like, obviously an up-and-coming defensive mind. He's done really, really well with the Rams defense. I would say that Rams defense is top 2 to top 3 in the league right now. They obviously have those superstar players, guys like Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. And then they have their other guys on their team, middle tier guys, stepping up to the plate, guys that are growing and developing. Look at Leonard Floyd, a guy who Staley, coached in Chicago. Now he's in LA, flourishing. Okay, he was a first round pick that the Bears gave up on. Now he's in LA doing his thing. So Staley has shown production. He is a young up and coming defensive mind in this league. And whenever you're rolling out a top 3 defense out there, you always have to take a look at who's in charge of that. We all know Sean McVay doesn't have that much input on the defensive side of the football, and Staley's coming from that Vic Fangio coaching tree, a guy who's obviously well known as one of the better defensive minds in the league. My only 2 concerns with Staley, he hasn't really been doing this for a long time. Okay, yeah, he spent a lot of years as an outside linebackers coach. That's great. He's had a lot of success. Definitely a highly regarded guy around the league. But as far as actually a defensive coordinator having control over a defense, calling these plays, installing the defense from a week-to-week basis, there hasn't really been that much experience. Okay, so that's always a question mark, especially when you're looking at the Jets, who I really feel like they need a program builder, a guy who could come in, look at the organization from a macro perspective, if you will, and kind of foresee where this team will be 4 years down the line, and then kind of reverse engineer it backwards. I mean, do we really want to entrust the 2nd overall pick, multiple first-round picks, in a guy that's been a defensive coordinator for 1 year? That's a question that Joe Douglas is going to have to ask amongst the front office and Christopher Johnson, of course. But for me personally, I definitely pause when I hear that. Number 2, you look at that defense. You can make the argument you could throw any defensive coordinator on that Rams defense, and they would definitely have a certain level of success. All in all, Staley's number 6 on this list. Next up at number 5 is Arthur Smith for me. Definitely a guy who I like. Really, really, really popular. So far, I've heard the Atlanta Falcons have probably the most interest in him. Obviously, the Jets. There's been a lot of buzz surrounding Arthur Smith. You have to take a look at what the Titans offense has been under Smith's tutelage these last couple of seasons. They've gotten on the right track. Ryan Tannehill is essentially, a great game manager now. He's not turning the football over. He's not this reckless quarterback throwing picks left and right. He definitely reined Ryan Tannehill back and really just polished him up as a quarterback in this league. You have to look at the offensive line production. You have to look at Derrick Henry. All of a sudden, Corey Davis is coming into his own. The overall development of A.J. Brown, a 2nd-round pick. This Titans offense is rolling, okay? It used to be the other way around. It used to be all about the defense, but now it's kind of Derrick Henry's team. It's just a matter of feeding him the football and letting him eat the entire game. So from that aspect, Smith obviously looks like a great candidate. He's been with Tennessee for a long time. So he knows the roster, pretty much the ins and outs of everything Tennessee football, or Titans football, I should say. But my one concern with Arthur Smith is, yeah, you're looking at it. He has a great offense. You know, he obviously, again, worked well with the O-line, Tannehill, the tight end position. He has a lot of experience with that Titans locker room. How would this guy do if you put him with a team like the New York Jets or the Jacksonville Jaguars, another team like that, with hardly the amount of talent that the Titans have? The Jets don't have Derrick Henry, a top 4, top 5 running back in the league. How would Smith's coaching expertise come into play? How would it work with a team that has less than half of the talent that the Titans offense does? It's a question mark. You have to look at it. You have to ask that question. So Arthur Smith is candidate number 5 for me. Coaching candidate number 4 on this list is Patrick Graham, defensive coordinator of the New York Giants. I've been a big Patrick Graham fan for a while now. He's definitely a guy who is versatile. He's almost like a Greg Williams, where he can run a bunch of different defenses, you know, has experience in a bunch of different areas. He's been with a lot of teams: Miami Dolphins, Patriots, Giants, just to name a few, Green Bay Packers. Graham has been around the league. He's seen his fair share of defenses. He's a versatile guy that connects with players. You're looking at the overall job that Coach Graham has done with the Giants this season. It's been terrific. It's been absolutely terrific. Okay, people think of Joe Judge as more of a special teams guy, leans more offense, but when you're looking at Patrick Graham, a guy who has complete control over the defense, I mean, he's winning these games. He's literally winning games with cast-offs from other teams. Think about it. Logan Ryan couldn't find a home. Carolina didn't want to pay Bradbury. Leonard Williams got traded away for essentially nothing. Middle round picks here. Who else? Blake Martinez didn't get brought back by Green Bay. Like, he's winning with middle tier guys. Nobody's really elite on this team, but you're seeing guys step up. You're seeing guys flourish. He's a guy who I think could come into any single locker room in the NFL, look at the roster, have that ability to communicate and be open with players, and build the defense around what players are good at. So I really like Patrick Graham from that sense. Now, obviously, there's always concerns about, can he develop a quarterback? Obviously, how much role will he have in an offensive attack and, an offensive game plan, all that kind of stuff. But a guy in Patrick Graham, who I feel like has been around the league, he's been at a bunch of different stops. He has those connections, and I believe people would be lining up to be the offensive coordinator for Patrick Graham. I mean, think about it. You're going to have complete control over an offense. You're going to be implementing your scheme. You're going to be controlling, whether it's Sam Darnold or Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. You're going to have a young quarterback at the helm that you are going to be responsible for, bringing along the way, having him progress. That's a huge, huge challenge, but it's also really exciting. I mean, what offensive coordinator in the NFL doesn't want that challenge? Okay, so it would definitely be enticing if you're an OC coming in. Overall, I like Patrick Graham, but he's number 4 on this list. Next up, spot number 3, Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator, Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like everybody knows Bieniemy at this point. They know exactly what he's bringing to the table. A guy who can really develop the tight end position, really develop the running back position. A guy who's not only just had a first row seat to the Chiefs' success, but who's been a staple coach within that locker room as far as the development of Patrick Mahomes, the overall creation and innovation of that Chiefs offense. It's a continuously adapting offense. It's so fun to watch. I mean, they're doing things that nobody else is doing. It's an absolute treat to watch. Okay, so Bieniemy, coming from the he has so much going for him on the offensive side of the football. It's definitely attractive to a team like the Jets, who have so much trouble getting a single first down. So the thought process would be, okay, if we're getting a guy like Bieniemy, not only are we just getting the creativity, the overall explosiveness that he provides with Kansas City, but we're also possibly getting some more Chiefs coaches coming over to our building, because as we know right now, the Chiefs are the best team in the league. They won the Super Bowl last year, and they're going to be the next dynasty for at least the next 5 to 10 seasons. So I see why the draw is there to bring a guy like Eric in. Now, I will say this, I definitely find it fishy that he continues to have all these interviews, but he never really seems to land the job. I don't really know what that's about. Is it more, questions on defense? I know there's been some allegations in the past. I don't know if that's what's really holding this up, but I mean, this is a dude that's interviewed for a lot of teams, and it is starting to get a little fishy on why he continues to not get these jobs. So, or why teams go in different directions. So I do find that weird, but all in all, he's number 3 on my list. Coaching candidate number 2, Matt Eberflus, defensive coordinator, Indianapolis Colts. I've been a big Eberflus guy for a long, long time, back since he was in Dallas. A guy who really preaches intensity, really preaches hustle, really preaches flocking to the football. I love all of those traits. I mean, I just love defenses that fly around the football field. You're looking at the overall Colts roster. You stack it up to other great defenses in the league today, like the Rams, like the Steelers, like the Ravens. Great defenses, right? But those teams should be great defenses. You're looking at the Colts personnel. They shouldn't be in that list, or they shouldn't be in that category given the talent on that team. But Eberflus can develop guys. You have guys stepping up in all sorts of ways. I mean, look at guys like Kenny Moore and Xavier Rhodes having a bounce back season. I've mentioned this ad nauseum on this channel, but so I'm sure it's getting old to hear, but it needs to be mentioned. It needs to be mentioned. Even guys that have missed some time, guys like Toure on the D line, Rock Ya-Sin, kind of these random players from college that all have similar traits, all guys that hustle, all guys that really are intense, that love the sport of football, guys that are hardworking, they practice hard, and they really walk into the building with a winning attitude, a winning culture, with one thing in mind, and that's winning football games every single Sunday. So I believe Matt Eberflus would come to this Jets team and put a lot of weight into the scouting department. He would put a lot of weight on player development, and he would be able to assemble a really good staff. Now, the one concern that I do have with Eberflus, and you will hear this from time to time, it's question marks about the offensive side of the football. Can he develop a quarterback? Can you entrust him with a rookie quarterback, whether it's, Zach Wilson or Justin Fields? Who knows who it might be? Can you entrust Eberflus and his staff to develop a quarterback? So it's up to him to bring in a good offensive coordinator. That needs to be the number one thing, because we do not, I repeat, we do not want to be in another situation like we were from 2015 to 2017/18 with Todd Bowles. Great defenses, players love them. Schemes are great, players seem to fit, random players step up, rookies definitely develop, but the offensive side of the football is a complete joke. They can't score points. It's not consistent. They have a hard time. They don't know who they are. They don't have an identity. Is Eberflus just another version of Todd Bowles? I don't know. That's definitely a question that should be in Joe Douglas's mind moving forward. So the number one candidate that the New York Jets have interviewed thus far is Brian Daboll, offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. Again, another guy who I've been talking a lot about on this channel. You're probably going to be sick of hearing what I'm about to say, but you're taking a look at the Bills offense, right? There's massive contributions on every single unit, right? O-line, tight end, wide receiver, running back, quarterback. You're having a lot of guys step up. The production from middle round guys like players like Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox and Singletary and all these different dudes stepping up, making plays. The development of Josh Allen has been insanely good. He's, if he's not the MVP, he's definitely second or third, I would say, behind Aaron Rodgers. The guy's playing at an unbelievably high level. Josh Allen is an elite quarterback as we stand right now. You're looking at the free agent guys that they brought in. Cole Beasley stepping up, playing better than he ever has. John Brown better than he ever has. Even guys like Tyler Kroft, right, tight end that they bring over from Cincinnati, stepping up and making plays when it counts. All right, Morris at center. Like, Buffalo has it figured out. The staff is fantastic. Ken Dorsey, Brian Daboll, they're doing their thing over there. If Daboll were to wind up in Florent Park, I completely trust Brian Daboll to develop a Justin Fields, a Zach Wilson at spot number 2, and turn that guy into a franchise quarterback, something that the Jets have not had in years. Okay, so there's a lot to like. The overall play design. He seems to always have a role for every single player on the offense, which is always fantastic. You're never seeing any sort of divas coming out of Buffalo. No guys screaming they want the football. That's what the expectation was with Stephon Diggs. Everybody's just like, it's a horrible trade. Who cares about the trade? It's not going to work out. That backfired on pretty much everybody out there. Daboll to the Jets would be great. The only concern I have with Daboll is he ready to lead? Is he ready to really be in the limelight? Because every role he's pretty much been in, Chiefs, Dolphins, Patriots, right, Alabama, Buffalo, he's always been Robin to the Batman. He's never been Batman before. He's not the guy that's, front and center, having to, answer the media's questions after every single game, whether they win or lose. Is his personality ready to lead? Is he ready to take on that head coaching position, especially in New York with the Jets, where, there's been a lot of guys that have struggled with the media and whatnot in the past. So my only concern with Daboll, and then of course he's going to have to get a good defensive guy in the building. Look at Eric Washington, the D-line coach from Buffalo, who I think is an up-and-coming guy as well. So I'll leave it there. those are my rankings. Let me know yours down below in the comment section. I would love to hear them. And hopefully the Jets start, requesting to interview some more guys. We need to do our due diligence here. We need to land this head coaching position. We need to land this guy. It has to be a home run. It has to. It's imperative. Trying to think of anything more I can add. It's something I have found interesting. We haven't requested to interview Don Martindale. We haven't requested to interview Joe Brady. I know the Jets have done their homework on Brady. There has been there's been a small buzz about Jim Harbaugh, so I don't know how true that is, but we'll see. Harbaugh's yet to sign that extension, so that's always interesting. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.